Switching gears a little bit, moving from philosophy to investigative stories. Writing a paper about strip mining and its effects on Appalachia. Done a lot of research in special collections and archives at UK. And this is my road trap. So, Appalachia, the price of strip mining. Much like the dynamite it uses, strip mining has been an explosive controversy for decades. Quite literally, strip mining blows the tops off of mountains to extract coal, the highly energy-rich and inexpensive resource that powers technology from war machines to refrigerators. The high demand for cheap energy drives innovation to develop the most cost-effective means of extraction. However, in many cases, maximizing profit often delivers much more than pronounced monetary incentives. The sacrifice of both the land and well-being of the community highlight the deleterious effects of such practices. Examining the war on poverty under a lens of scrutiny grants clarity to the impacts of strip mining and its often undesired contribution to not only the livelihood, but image of Appalachia. What is surface mining? First, the mountaintop contour is stripped of trees and undergrowth. Next, large drills burrow deep holes into the ground. Explosives are packed into these holes, and the resulting explosion removes the surface layer and exposes deposits of coal. These deposits are then excavated, while the unused debris is dumped into neighboring valleys. This method of extracting coal is destructive, has many negative consequences. However, there are benefits. From the economic perspective, surface mining closely tracks the often indifferent needs of the energy-dependent consumer. Access to cheap energy in order to power almost every electrical commodity in the home and workplace appeals to consumers, and the incredible profits appeal to industry. Inside the continental United States, great reservoirs of coal inside surface deposits can provide substantial domestic energy for current and future increases in energy demand. One stance argues that imposition of strict regulation and the downright banning of surface mining could potentially cause economic disruption and create energy shortages. From the years of 1953 to 1973, the contribution of surface mining to coal production skyrocketed from 24% to 49%. In 1976, 55% of the nation's electrical energy consumption was derived from coal. Therefore, relative significance to consumer demand must be correlated to surface mining. The economic benefit of surface mining does not stand alone. Also, the consideration for the safety of the miner must be accounted for. Deep mining is much more hazardous, and the long-term health effects, such as black lung, are both negated in surface mining. In conclusion, the economic thrift and safety of the miner mutually serve to advocate the practice of surface mining. In the early 1900s, coal companies bought mineral rights to Appalachian people's lands for around 50 cents to a few dollars an acre. At this time, the idea of blasting the surface off the mountain to extract coal was inconceivable. However, decades later, companies would use the broad-form deeds to mineral rights as legal passage to extract coal by any means necessary. Ignoring all consequences that interfered with maximum profit, companies ravished the region. These deeds gave coal companies the right to pollute water, pile mining refuse, and build roads on landowners' properties. When one mountaineer attempted to fight back, a trial judge told the man, "The truth is that about the only right you have on your land is to breathe on it and pay the taxes. For all practical purposes, the company that owns the minerals in your land owns all the other rights pertaining to it." During strip mining, bulldozers remove surface layers of dirt and foliage in order to uncover the coal deposits. This refuse is piled off the side of the mountain. As a result, heavy rains coupled with thousands of tons of loose debris create massive landslides that destroy homes, destroy crops, and contaminate water supplies. In one instance, an entire town was destroyed. Later, when citizens attempted to sue the coal company for damages, the court stated that the rain was an act of God and subsequently ruled that the company was innocent of any wrongdoing or negligence. Wilma Hazelton was a citizen of West Virginia whose family lost everything as a result of a landslide. She addressed the President and members of Congress in a letter with photographs depicting the destruction of her home. She pleaded, "How long will you allow companies to strip our beautiful mountains?" One solution to this crisis was the proposal of to nationalize the mines and establish a federal Appalachian Authority. George Myers claimed that with the rich resources of Appalachia, including coal, gas, oil, timber, and potential for hydroelectric power, there was no reason for rampant poverty. He stated that absentee mine owners were colonizing the region and siphoning great wealth while destroying the land and discouraging other industry. In 1961, the coal industry extracted and shipped over $1 billion worth of coal from Kentucky, West Virginia, and Pennsylvania. Despite this incredible amount of wealth, the standards of the people continued to decline. The Federal Appalachian Authority would be given the tremendous undertaking of rebuilding the region by various means. Hydroelectric dams, land conservation, public housing, road building, and various other projects were proposed to revitalize the Appalachian region. Myers also proposed that ownership of the mine should belong to the federal government since the private coal industry was incapable of meeting its responsibility to the country. Unfortunately, the Federal Appalachian Authority was not successfully established. However, local activists would not abandon the fight. Activism began with grassroots movements shared between farming and working people who were determined to protect their land. Approaches to opposition included both civil and militant discourse. Peaceful demonstrations to appeal through public and political figures was led by people such as Harry Cottle. However, when all else failed, some individuals resorted to the means of violence. Lawyers would tell property owners that resistance was useless. However, in some cases, equipment would be destroyed in the dark of night by dynamite. In 1977, the federal government finally took measures to pass legislation to address the rising concern of strip mining. The Surface Mine Control and Reclamation Act of 1977 was introduced, and for once in American history, the coal mining industry was to be held accountable for damages to the land. This legislation was loosely adhered to and often overlooked as opposed to a hard requirement. Nonetheless, a small victory was won, and attention to the detrimental effects of surface mining was now nationally addressed. Loss of agricultural land, clean water, and alternative employment opportunity are only a few examples of what the Appalachian region might have gained in order to battle the war on poverty, if not pinned under the industrial boom. Victims of poisoned water, landslides, stereotypes, and plundered lands, the Appalachian people have endured the onslaught of modernization in a land unwilling to bend to rule and the imposition of industrial thirst.